by Hannah Torregoza and Van Elaine Terrazola. Senator Franklin Drilon warned of possible repercussions, particularly the possibility of a nationwide martial law declaration after both chambers of Congress granted President Rodrigo Duterte's request to extend martial law in Mindanao for 1 year. Is this now a prelude to declaring martial law nationwide? He asked. Senator Frank Drilon, Senate of the Philippines Facebook page /Manila Bulletin. The Senate voted 14-4 in favor of the proposed extension of martial law in Mindanao until December 31, 2018 to rid its regions of terrorists and rebels. Drilon, together with Senators Francis Kiko Pangilinan, Risa Hontiveros and Paulo Bemaquino, voted against the extension. The minority leader also questioned the inclusion of the New People's Army, NPA, as basis for the extension of martial law in Mindanao. When martial law was imposed last May 23 and extended last July 22, the NPA was never mentioned. Now, their activities are cited to justify the 1-year extension, Drilon pointed out. The NPA conflict has been there for the last 4 decades nationwide, but suddenly in the extension, the NPA is cited, he said. Drilon pointed out the NPA has a nationwide presence, unlike the MOT group, the Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters, BIF, the Abu Sayyaf group whose presence are limited to Mindanao. If we were to believe that the government is intent on ending the war against the NPA, which operates not only in Mindanao but all over the country, then it is entirely possible that their operations would have to be extended beyond Mindanao to meet that objective, Drilon said. Is it just matter of time before we convene again in this plenary to discuss the expansion of martial law beyond Mindanao? Drilon asked hypothetically. Drilon emphasized that under the Constitution, the Congress can extend the proclamation of martial law only when there's actual rebellion, which he said requires actual public uprising and taking arms to overthrow the government. Pangilinan, in explaining his vote, said that the mere threat, and not actual rebellion, does not merit an extension of martial law in Mindanao, adding that its proclamation is unnecessary if only to maintain public safety. The threat that terrorists and rebels posed is not a basis for an extension of military rule in Mindanao. Martial law is an extreme measure and should never be resorted to except in extreme circumstances, he said. Pangilinan urged government officials and members of the armed forces of the Philippines to uphold and defend the Constitution and bear true faith in it. He said he has no problem with the executive branch's political will as long as it will not violate the will of the people. Meanwhile, Hontiveros said the president failed to provide evidence that martial law offers any distinct advantage to the military and police in their fight against the MOT terrorists. The declaration, she added, brought no added legal and logistical value in the campaign against terrorism. She hit further the sudden inclusion of the NPA among the reasons for the extension, when Duterte supposedly did not provide new information on the terrorist groups.